Hello.
Help!
Ayudar.
救命啊！救命啊！
Welcome to Stormy and Kempton. Save the world! And now, your host, Kempton Lamb.
Wow, I'm excited. So this is the pilot episode of Stormy and Kempton Save the World. This is the first time, and let me welcome my co-host, Stormy. Hello, Stormy.
Howdy, world. I'm a nervous wreck.
And our guest, Maria. Thanks, Maria.
Hi, and I'm a nervous wreck.
Maria is a pro. Maria, what do you do?
Well, let's see. My day job, I work at the Fox 11 Los Angeles newsroom. I'm a meteorologist or the weather chick in the mornings. I'm also the social media anchor there, so I get to hang out on Google Plus and Twitter and tweet and everyone. And then I also am one of the founders of MommyLovesTech.com, and I'm a mom.
So I suspect you're not as nervous as we are.
Well, you know, it's different to be on this side of the interview. So I am a little bit nervous, to be honest, actually.
You look great, and you'll be fine. I am the nervous wreck right now. My tongues are tied, and I don't know what to say, but I do know to say the following. Stormy, take it away.
Sure, put it on me. Well, I'm going to put it right back on you, Kempton. You're co-hosting an emergency preparedness show. I'm curious, what kind of emergency preparedness kit do you have?
I'm so prepared. I've got something to show everyone here. So my emergency preparedness kit is a big blue bag, empty bag.
It's an empty bag.
Yes, I hope to learn something from the show. So I'm like the fellow viewers out there. I don't know nothing, and so I'm here to learn.
All right. You might be curious to see what's in my 72-hour kit, and I'll show you. It's kind of light. That's because it's empty, just like Kempton's bag.
I'm so surprised. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not so surprised. And when you guys told me about the show and what you were doing, I was really happy to hear that, because we talk about storm preparedness and kits on the news all the time, and we remind people, me as on this side of the media, and I have been guilty of it. But I am proud to say that I have my emergency preparedness kit, and I haven't had it for that long of a time, but I am happy to say that I actually do have it. I don't know what's all in it, but we together can go over the contents of my preparedness kit, definitely.
All right, great. We'll do that in a little bit. In case you're wondering why I don't have an emergency preparedness kit, it's because, you heard the phrase, the cobbler's children have no shoes. I'm always tearing it apart and thinking about, well, what can I do better? And I spread it all out over the whole house or the dining room table, and my wife comes along and says, you can't leave that there. And so it gets put here and there, and so it ends up torn up all the time. Even for people who think about it all the time like me, it's hard to be prepared.
Wow.
But shouldn't you have like two bags if you're going to do that all the time? One already always standby, like in the old days when I was doing software, like you need to have a hot standby, right? You need to fly the airplane, you need to do whatever.
That is a great idea, Kempton. As soon as I'm rich, I'm going to do that. So why do you think people don't get prepared?
It's interesting that you asked that. I mean, you yourself, you say that you just kind of, the time gets away from you, you try, you start. I think it's like out of sight, out of mind. It's here, living in Southern California, for me, living in Los Angeles, it's been a long time since we've had a major earthquake here. I think the last major earthquake we had was back in 1994, if you remember that January earthquake, the Northridge earthquake. And I think during that time, everyone got their kits, but it's been a long time since then, and people have moved, people have come into the state, and you just kind of let it go. You think it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. But here in LA, and I've said this time and time again, and many of the the experts and the seismologists and scientists say, it isn't even a question of if it's going to happen. It's really a question of how big it's going to be, because you betcha it's going to happen, and we're long overdue for one. There's like a 90% chance that a big earthquake, 4.0 or greater, will occur here in Southern California. So really, it's any time now. And if this video can be a reminder for all of you watching, it's do it now, would you? Even just a small one would be better than nothing. And so I hope that we can be a little bit helpful in that sense, that you can get started on your kits, Kempton and Stormy.
Yeah. So I know Maria purchased her kit, but Stormy, do we have to actually buy our kits, or what's the process of actually building a kit?
I actually don't recommend buying one outright because there's no one right way to prepare. Unfortunately, all our situations are different. For example, I have no worry about earthquakes where I am, and hurricanes aren't a problem. I don't have blizzards. So things that are to prepare you for those situations wouldn't help me much where I am. I don't have children. Some of our viewers will have children, and I have no idea how to prepare for evacuating a home with an infant or a toddler. And so we have to think about our individual situations and what we need to do to prepare for them.
Well,
we have a question.
I think it's a good start, though, don't you think? I mean, it's a good start to buy one. I think what would make a great gift for someone, if you're looking for a gift for someone to give, I think a small kit, an emergency preparedness kit, would be a great place. I know my dad actually got me my first one years ago. So that would be a really great Christmas gift or birthday gift for someone.
And it is much better than not having a kit, by far. Yes, it is better to buy a commercial kit than to have no kit.
I think
but you don't have to buy one. You can put it together with what's in your house.
You don't have to buy one. Actually, there are lists on the internet that give you a guide as far as what your emergency preparedness kit should be. And it doesn't have to be like one for earthquake, one for hurricane, one for tsunami. A lot of the items that are included in the kit or suggested in the kit would apply, if I'm not mistaken, Stormy, they would apply across the board. So if you wanted to buy one, they sell them on the internet. And I think at Home Depot, at Osh, I think I got mine at Osh, they start at about $39.99 for a small kit. It's like $40, which would be a great gift for someone to give. It's a kit for 1 or 2 people. So that would be a great place to start. Definitely. Kempton. I'm going to get you one for Christmas.
We have a question from a viewer, Janet Henderson. That's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
She asks, what events is it reasonable to prepare for? And that's a good question because, as I said, we all have different circumstances and we're preparing for different things. Now, if you've lived in your area for a little while, you probably already know what the main risks are in your area. You may have hurricanes or tornadoes, like I'm in Tornado Alley, the Mississippi version. There's earthquakes in California. So you probably know the big name, big ticket disasters that are going to happen. But there are other things that can happen that you might not think about. For example, I found a local government website for a nearby county. My county didn't have one, but the neighboring county did, and they listed the top 16 hazards that they were preparing for in their emergency management. And the number 2 most likely scenario was a hazardous materials spill. And that's something I never would have thought of, but it's in my area, the number 2 risk. And so I suggest that you do some searches on Google. Search for your city, county, and state name and use keywords like emergency management or top hazards or most likely disasters, and see if there is a government resource like that that will tell you what's most likely to happen in your area.
Then I have to ask, it's almost like there's a lot of work though, right? Then people don't know exactly what to put in it. Wouldn't it be making it a better excuse for procrastination? Like if you ask me,
It does lead to procrastination because you really need to think for yourself. And there are many resources to help you do that thinking, but you can't just do what's on the internet and take no thought whatever unless you have money. If you have money, you can buy all those things and you're prepared.
Well, you can start with the one that's like 30 or 40 bucks, Kempton, and from there you can put, in your blue big bag there, your backpack, you can fill it with items from your home, water bottles. You can put a little first aid kit of Band-Aids, antiseptics, cotton, and you can put medicines is really important. That if you take regularly prescription medicine, you should definitely put some in there. I have a child, so I have some Tylenol in there. I'll show you what's.
Do you have diapers in it? Yeah.
You're supposed to. You're supposed to have diapers, but I have thought a little bit about the structure of our home, and we live in a one-story house, and so we have in the kitchen like tons of bottles of water. Those big bottles. So I think I can get to those pretty well. And as far as the diapers, they're literally all over the house. Like every room, there's a stack of diapers, and in the car. So I'm pretty good with that. What else? I can go through my bag if you want to. Or do you want to wait until a little while from now?
Let's wait just a few more minutes.
Oh,
okay. To finish answering my mother's question, once you know the disasters that are likely to happen in your area, you need to prioritize them by asking two questions. How likely is it to hurt me? And how much would it cost or effort would be required to prevent it from doing so? For example, if you run out of groceries, that will make you dead, but not for a long time. Take weeks. For someone like me, it could take months before that becomes a real risk. So in the short term, it's not a high risk problem. If you run out of water, that's a higher risk thing, but it would again probably take a few days, a week or so to kill you, to make you dead. A lack of warmth or coolth. If you're out of your house in the winter, if your house catches fire and you run out, once the fire is out, if you're wearing your pajamas, it'll only take a couple of hours to get hypothermia. If your house falls on you, well, that's pretty quick, and that would be a high-risk thing. And so you have to evaluate how likely is the incident to hurt me, and how much would it cost to prevent it, and how much difficulty is required.
So it's a thinking process that you have to go through, based on your own local area risk or the environment that you're in, and how do you assess them and take actions.
One thing I think we should watch out for is that we don't get obsessed with a single disaster to the exclusion of others. Getting too carried away like that not only leaves you unprepared for other things, but you can end up on TV shows, for crazy people who build bunkers and get a little carried away with their preparedness. Let me tell you a little story, and this is to illustrate how to think about emergency preparedness. So a snowstorm comes along. We can name it after a cartoon fish if we want. It blocks all the roads, and Kempton is stuck in his house. Kempton runs out of groceries, and he gets hungry. So he decides to try to drive to the store. He gets in his car, drives along the road, gets stuck, and Kempton turns into an icicle. Now, which elements of this story were under Kempton's control, and which parts were not?
Me not going out?
Well, we can start from the beginning.
Yeah,
yes, running out of food was under Kempton's control. The snowstorm itself was not. There's nothing he can do about the snow. The decision to get in his car and drive to the store was under his control. Getting stuck in the snow wasn't under his control. Once we've figured out which parts of the story are under our control, we can look for the easiest, earliest place to rewrite that story. In this case, we can rewrite the story as Kempton buys extra food and puts it under his bed. Snowstorm comes along and blocks the roads. Kempton runs out of groceries. Kempton eats the food under his bed. The snow melts. End of story. So we found the earliest place in the story to make a change. A simple change to prevent what happens afterwards. And that's how we have to think about emergency preparedness. It's a chain of events, and we have to find the earliest place to break that chain.
Interesting analysis. I've never think like that. I don't know about you, Maria. Do you think like
I
that?
haven't actually, but when you break it down, in that sense, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
And
To
most
where-
disasters, most disasters are a chain of events, things where you have multiple failures or multiple problems. The snowstorm by itself wasn't a disaster for Kempton, and running out of groceries by itself is not a disaster for Kempton. It was the two in combination
Combined,
that caused the problem.
So the moral of that story then would be he should have prepared more food or had more food available to him
Or not go out?
and not go out.
Yeah, for that particular story, that's something where having some extra groceries stashed would have helped Kempton.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, the pantry. So not the extreme of having 3 months supply of canned corn, but like maybe another week of other dry canned goods or stuff that, can help me along the way.
Yep.
Yeah, I recommend a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they
Now-
say 2 to 3 weeks, right? Of
And that's something that's
non-perishable.
changed.
Yeah,
Because originally we all heard about 72-hour kits.
yeah,
Everyone
now
should be
it's-
prepared for 3 days. And Katrina showed that 3 days is not enough time.
No, it's not. When you look at what happened in the Northeast, though, recently with that, with Sandy, and those people were not prepared to be more than a week, 2 weeks, some of them, without food, without electricity, without any of that basic necessities. So,
Yeah.
All right, the second thing I'd like to talk about in this episode is communication. This is something that's common to all disasters, or at least a large number of them. When we watched Katrina footage on TV, one of the things I thought was most heartbreaking was all of the people that could not find their family members, that didn't know where to look, that had no means of finding or communicating with them. And something that we can do to prevent that is just to make a plan ahead of time. This is something that only takes 10 minutes and it costs nothing. And it could make a great difference to your peace of mind in a bad event.
Right.
So decide ahead of time a few things. The first of all is who you'll contact if you can't contact each other. And there's, I suggest having several contacts based on distance. You might have a neighbor that you can call, for example, if your spouse doesn't answer the phone at home and you're worried and you want someone to go next door and check. Or if the kids have a problem, they need to have a neighborhood contact that they know they can go to who will help them, that their parents trust. You should have someone maybe across town. So if you have a disaster in your neighborhood, you know to contact this person across town. And you should have somebody that's not close, maybe a family member in another state. That's, for a Katrina scale disaster. You need to know that if there's a disaster, we're all going to call Aunt Mabel in Indiana and let her know where we are and that we're okay. And if everybody knows that, then you can stay in contact with each other. There is one catch to this, though. You have to write it down and put it someplace. Because when my wife and I made this plan a number of years ago, we didn't write it down. And now we recently discussed what was our plan? Who were we going to call? And we couldn't remember. So write it down. Keep a copy in your purse or your wallet. Put a copy in your emergency kit. And if you have children, maybe consider giving a copy to the school to keep in their records. Something else that you can decide ahead of time is where to go if you can't go home. For example, that hazardous materials spill scenario, that's the number 2 risk for my area. They may close off your neighborhood and you can't go home. So where do you go? Again, it could be the same contacts, same emergency contacts you have, someone across town, someone in a nearby town, or someone out of the state.
All right. So, Stormy, at this point, can we ask Maria to show
We
us her
can.
kit? All right.
oh, okay, is that time? You know, I just remembered that I forgot to put something in, well, not put it, I forgot to get it from here, or to bring it here to show you, but I can just tell you about it, or I can run over there to get it in a second. But I just want to quickly show you my. This is my emergency kit for the home. It's really big and it's really heavy.
Can you carry it? Is it like for the husband, for the big man?
It's hard for me to carry by myself, but definitely my husband should carry it. We keep it right at the door leading to a basement. We do have a little California basement. Not very many houses in California have a basement, but we happen to have one. It's like a cellar. And so this is like right at that door. And if there were to be an earthquake, I think that area of the home should be okay, I'm hoping. I'm at least accessible anyway. This big kit, it's really heavy. And I have, let me just go over really quickly what are the important features that are in here. And to be really honest, I haven't really gone through it because I haven't had the need to. I've just kind of trusted that they're all in here. I did buy this, like I said. I think I bought this from Osh. And this is a big kit for 4 people to last for, I don't know how many days, 3-4 days, I think. And I made a list here of what's in it. I'm going to have to put my glasses on. Sorry. Basically, it's got 4 water boxes, which has a 5-year shelf life. So that's why it's heavy, I think, because of the water. Food supply for 4 people. Again, there's a 5-year shelf life here. Emergency ponchos. You've got survival blankets, which is what you need to stay warm. Even just like that, you could lose your heat, and you don't even have blankets. So I have that. 12-hour light sticks. I have gloves, dust masks, tissues, an emergency whistle, some gloves, goggles, biohazard bags, some towelettes, and an emergency communication plan and contact. Stormy, that's what you said, and I need to fill this out. I didn't realize that there was one in here. So I have to do that. And of course, there's a big first aid kit in here. And I have my Pediacare. This is our, children's Tylenol, just in case. And I wanted to show you this funny thing that's in here too. I love this, and so I have to keep at least one of these in there.
The Hawaiian special spam.
I think these last forever, but we have a barbecue outside to gas grill, and we have extra gas propane tanks out there, so we would be able to cook definitely if we did not have electricity or gas in the house. So we could make this, and I think I have a Vienna sausage can in there too, and some rice. So I think that's what's adding to why it's so heavy. I also have. Over the years, like you're saying, Stormy, you take things out and you put stuff back in. I remember with my other kit, I did do that, and I have one of those crank flashlight.
Like hand power, you don't need a battery type.
Yeah, you don't need a battery, and you just crank it up, and it turns into a radio as well. So that is really, if I can emphasize anything that I think is really important in a kit, is a radio. Because you need to be able to know what's going on with the emergency officials and the people who are in charge of making sure everyone is safe and found. There's really no way to know, because if you don't have electricity, you can't watch TV, you can't get on the internet, right? So you really need to have a radio. So if that's one thing you should do, is get that radio. And I think the one I have is able to power a cell phone for 2 minutes or something like that, in case you want to text or phone someone. So I do have that. And also, if you could keep cash, which I have in a little jar, and I won't tell you where it is, but little bills, like $5 bills, $10 bills, and $20 bills. And you should have at least 75. I think I've gone in there, though, a couple of times, so it's probably more like $50 now. But you should really have $100 in cash in this little emergency place, because bank machines won't work. And I know that was a problem here during that big earthquake. People were trying to get gas, and the gas stations wouldn't take credit cards or anything like that, so they would only take cash. And I have my little one, which I have in the car. So this is a
small version of it. Same color.
Yeah, same place. So this one was, I think, $40. So this would make a really great gift for somebody if they've been procrastinating about not making a kit. But this has all the stuff that I read to you on the big kit, but just for 2 people, this one. So anyway, and I just want to make one thing, if you're watching and you live in earthquake land like I do, there's no such thing as earthquake weather. Earthquake could occur at any time. It could occur at night, in the morning, the winter, and the summer. So again, I'm so glad that you guys are doing this, because this is just a reminder for everybody to get that plan started and get a kit going. Okay, you guys?
And this is a good point to jump in and remind everyone that this is episode 1 of a mini-series, and we will be covering earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, winter storms, and other specific scenarios in upcoming episodes.
All right. So it's about that time of the show. We have time flies when we are having fun. It's almost half an hour now. So
let me jump in and say one more thing, Kempton.
Okay, go ahead.
At the end of every episode, I'd like to challenge our viewers to do one thing to get started if you have not yet gotten started. And what I'd like you to do after this episode is talk with your family and come up with that communication plan. Write it down. Make sure everybody has a copy.
Mm-hmm. Who to contact and what is the sequence? If we can't contact this person, do what?
Yep.
Right.
You can also think about who goes after who. You know, in movies, you'll see this person goes off to rescue the other person who also goes off to rescue the other person. So you can make a plan. My wife stays at work. I go to get her. You know, that's our plan.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's a good plan. Yeah, I think that's what we have too. It's like, because I work, over in the newsroom, and that building is really pretty secure, and talk about their emergency preparedness. I think they've got pallets of food and pallets of water. So I told my husband that if I were to be at work, you need to get the baby and walk. You can walk to work from our house, but it would be a long walk, but you could get there. It'd probably take you about an hour or 45 minutes to walk. But you could definitely get there. That's a good plan.
Yeah. All right. So is that it?
Yep. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Justin Hill, for doing our graphics.
Yeah. Thanks, Justin, and thanks, Maria, and thanks to my co-host, Stormy. So thanks for watching, everyone. Come join us next time. All right.
Thanks, you
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.
Hello.
Thank you.
Gracias.
唔該晒，謝謝你。
Tune in again next week when Stormy and Kempton save the world again.
So Maria, we are still live. We figure out we decided the last 30 seconds or a minute we're going to roll something and have some outtakes and whatnot. Recreate our outtakes. So we'll be telling people subscribe.
Subscribe. Emergency kit. Emergency kit. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And we survived.
And you're not nervous anymore, right? Okay, I was a little bit nervous. Like, I was kind of shaking. I started getting kind of warm. I'm just really not used to being on this side. So,
you're nervous, and well, we are. My face are flashed. By the way, I mean, just so that we know, like, this is still live, and we'll use this.
oh, that's right. Okay.
All right. So yeah, but it was good. It was fun. It was fun.
I should go get my hang on, just stay right here. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go show you my my other thing.
I vote next time we let Maria do it all.
Yeah, right. We are too nervous wreck. Yeah, but hey, surprise! If you stay on and watch, hey, you've got surprise.
Coming. Oops, sorry.
Maria.
Okay, now I forgot to show this to you guys. Now this is really interesting. This is our Goal Zero. It looks kind of like a notebook, but this is a solar charger. And what was interesting is that what got me really interested in this is, all the people from Hurricane Sandy that wiped out all of the electricity in the Northeast, and people didn't have access to the internet or their phone. So this is a solar
power.
Yeah, this is a solar panel. See, it folds up. But
can you open again? All right. Oh, so the dark surface, so the solar is inside.
Yeah. So there's the solar panels. They're just two 2 solar panels, and they close up like this. But you take it outside, and it charges up this battery right here. This is the battery.
Oh.
And on the battery, see all the ports? So you can charge your laptop or your iPad or your phone, and you can have a couple of hours of charge, like electricity.
Can you
Or
hold
not,
it closer to the camera? Yeah. Oh, okay. So red, green. Yeah.
So this is the Goal Zero. I forgot to bring it earlier. I'm sorry. But it's really cool. And so, and here's all the cords for it. And then, but it all folds up into this thing. See? It's like a little book. Oops. And so that goes in the emergency kit too, I think. But the reason why I left it out is because I was testing it. I just got it recently. But it's really neat, especially here in Southern California where we get a lot of sun. And usually after a big storm, it's always so sunny and beautiful, isn't it? So you can get power this way. So anyway, that's something to consider to buy someone as a gift.
And how much does that cost, roughly?
This one, I think, is like $189. I think this one is $189. But they have a smaller one that's, I think that one was $50-something, like a smaller version, which is like
less power and stuff.
Yeah, it has less power. It doesn't charge it for as long, but it'll get you through the hump. You know, it'll give you like an hour of, I think, talk time, maybe, or is it 30 minutes? I'm all confused about the exact details on that, but this is the big one. I think this one you can get a couple of hours of charge, which can make a huge difference if you want to let your family know you're okay online and stuff. But this is really cool. It's the Gold Zero. Yeah, and you can carry it.
Yeah, I mean, power is one thing, right? But I'm sure in a future episode we'll talk about the phone system and whatnot. It's not just the power. I'm sure that if everyone pick up the phone at the same time, this phone system is going to crash like no tomorrow, and we'll be having trouble talking on the phone. Yeah.
So anyway, I like this. Thanks you guys for doing it because it really does force me to get it all together again. Make sure it's complete.
And me, I'm supposed to be the expert, and I don't even have
Stormy,
it
I'm really shocked that you don't have yours, dude. That's funny.
Next
but like
week.
you said,